We interviewed all of these people and asked them a series of questions about the documentary 13th and issues including drugs, prison, jail, and racism and how it affected their lives.
Have you or your family ever been affected by any issues that include drugs, prison, jail, and racism?
Yes. Me and my sister and my mom were at the gym, and we went into the sauna where another Mexican lady was in there, and 2 other white men were in there as well. The lady didn't speak any English, and so we obviously were talking to her in Spanish. And this was around the time of the election when Trump was becoming president. So she's explaining to us how her family, they're really nervous about the whole election, about splitting the family apart, and we were just talking about that. And obviously, one of the white men heard Trump being talked about, and he had said something under his breath that it was really disrespectful how we were talking about the election when they were right there and they couldn't understand. And I said, well, there's nothing we can do about that. And he was being really disrespectful and saying rude things like, oh, well, when the election happens, I won't have to worry about this anymore. And yeah.
Well, a lot of times when people start smack talking, like, especially this school in Zeeland East, they would always, they'll be like, you're black, why are you even here, get off the field or something like that, and that's kind of...
There was a time, me and a group of my friends, we went to the store, and the employee there thought we were gonna steal, so she started following us around the store. And so what we did was we pulled out our money to show her that we can afford what we were gonna get, and she stopped following us.
Growing up, I've heard many things due to stereotypes, like Asians eat dogs or Asians are automatically smart, especially at math. And I guess that kind of makes me feel bad because I've never really been good at math. And whenever people saw my test scores or whatever, they'd say stuff like, aren't you Asian? You're supposed to be smart at math, or math's supposed to be your subject. And because of that, it makes me, or they'd make fun of it, and that kind of makes me feel bad. And because I'm also mixed with Mexican, it's a tradition to have a quince. And I've heard many things like, you're Asian, you can't have a quince. And I guess people really would make fun of that. And yeah.
Okay, so about almost a year and a half ago, me and some people from the pickers that pick blueberries, we went to Collins Park, and then me and their kids were playing around in the playground, and then there was this little white girl, and then she fell, and of course I was gonna go help her. So as I got up to go help her, her dad came along, and so did her mom. And then when I was gonna help the little girl up, they just pushed me away, like I was gonna do something to the little girl. And then they said, "What are you gonna do about it? It's not like you know anything." And I feel like they said that because of my skin color and my race. So I don't know. I felt like I was pushed away just because of my race when I knew I could do something to help.
My dad, growing up in New York City, being the only Puerto Ricans in a very Polish neighborhood, the Polish police were not very nice to them.
How have your experience and or privileges been impacted because of race, gender, age, etc.?
One time, my family was having a stir fry, and I was biking Dollar General because we were out of soy sauce, and you need soy sauce with stir fry, right? And I get the soy sauce, and I'm biking home, and this cop pulls me over. He's like, "Sir, in the bike, can you please pull over?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I pull over, and he's like, "What's in your hand?" I was like, soy sauce. And then he said, "Okay, you can keep going." But I thought that was a little sketch.
I'll say me being on the basketball court when we doing pickup games, if there's someone who's white and I'm me looking like this, they're gonna pick me first because I look better than the dude that's white.
I think at my time at specifically Holland High, I don't think I've ever been given an advantage because of the color of my skin. I mean, a lot of times, and white privilege is an issue, but a lot of times I think we jump to race so quickly, and sometimes we really need to think about it if it's actually your race or if it is like your qualifications.
Well, I've heard things like Asians make good food or Asians are good at beauty things like doing hair or nails. And I guess that's a positive thing because that's the only stereotype that is kind of true.
Okay, so one of my privileges I think I have of being bilingual is that I can get to like communicate with other people. Like at my job, I'm one of the few people that speak English and Spanish. So like for the people that don't speak English, I can communicate with the bosses and kind of give directions to the other people that didn't understand. Or I can give like directions or follow the expectations of what the bosses say.
Well, one of the privileges for being Latina, I think for me, is when I apply for colleges, especially for a bigger university. I know that they want more diversity, so it's easier for, coloreds to get into, just to make the diversity even between whites and coloreds. And also with scholarships, we can, being a first generation also, and having like black hair or having different colored skin, you can get scholarships for colleges just for that too.
Do you see yourself making any personal changes in your life because of these issues?
For me, yeah, but it wouldn't be like something so major. I feel like it would just be minor with any stereotypes towards Mexicans, but not only towards Mexicans, to other colored people as well. Because I do think that white people do see colored people as a threat or as something that they're not, and that'd be cool to something to end.
I don't think I need to because I'm not a racist person. When I see a black person, I'm not gonna walk to their side of the street. I'm not race doesn't mean anything to me. And all of us are the same, all created by the same God. Race isn't an issue to me.
When I come into the school, I don't see black and white and Mexican people all hanging out in one group. As you come in, you can see there's groups of black people and then white people and then Mexican people. And in my experience, I've tried to get along with all of them, but you feel you don't belong there, not just because of your skin color, it's because how they treat you, especially. And well, that's mostly because of it, but I don't know, people say that we're a diverse school, but we kind of aren't, because that's one of the reasons. So.
Well, I would attempt to make a change, but I feel like racism is a big thing in the world and around schools. It's always going to be around, because even if we feel like it's gone, it's really not. And there's always going to be someone who disagrees with things that have to do with race. And nobody can really change that but the people who are being negative towards these things.